Devaluation. That's the name of the game. The currencies are being destroyed one by one, but nobody notices why or how it happened. I'll get into exactly that. This is Janet Yellen, the Fed chairman. Isn't she lovely? She is here to destroy the US dollar. Ben Bernanke couldn't finish that project, but here is Janet Yellen to do that. She has been tapering back on the money printing that's been happening, but I assure you that is not over, not by a long shot. Goldman Sachs sees QE3 going up to as much as $2 trillion, which would make it the biggest of the three. And you may notice that these have to continue to increase in quantity. So if they do stop this, the QE4 will be 5 trillion, QE5, so on and so forth. They have to do this because as they continue this system, it gets worse and worse. It doesn't fix anything. It's just handing money to the bankers. That's all this does. And China's currency peg. The reason I'm mentioning this is that the US dollar is being devalued. So the Federal Reserve is printing money like no other. But other countries around the world need to seem relatively fair and relatively attractive so that they can do their exports, China being obviously a main culprit of this. So what do? They hit the printing presses as well. And every country around the world has done this. And actually a big surprise that I found was the Swiss franc. Switzerland actually decided to print money and keep their dollar at 120 to the euro no matter what. They said that we do not want our dollar to raise too high. It's too valuable. We don't want that. We're going to print it. We're going to devalue it so that we look more attractive to exports. And that is a travesty. They took probably the most sound currency in the world and said that they will do what everyone else does, and that's print the money. What's happening in this system is this. This is a chart here I showed in my book, and it's talking about the monetary base. Now this ends in about 2011, and you can see we're up to 3 trillion. Now we're about up to 4 trillion that the Federal Reserve has been printing. They added $4 trillion out of thin air that they're willing to admit. Of course, there's much more than this, but let's take this $4 trillion printed out of thin air, given to the banks around the world. They buy these treasuries and these bonds and all kinds of garbage. Nobody's even really realizing what this does. It does nothing for the economy. How could buying fake paper assets help to improve the economy? It's a complete joke. All this is funding and stimulating the banking system, keeping it going. As the real people move their money out of the system, the smart people move their money out of the system, the Federal Reserve has to step in. At the same time, they're devaluing the dollars by printing that currency. Let me get into how this is really practical. This is a simple diagram that I did in my book. Look at that $100 bill. And then you take it over, of course, these are just random estimates here, but 1900, that $100 bill would buy you a car, 1950, perhaps a motorcycle. And nowadays, it's buying nothing but a bus pass. So that same $100 bill, the public sees $100 printed on the bill, but it's buying less and less every single day. And that's because of the inflation. Inflation is not a rise in prices. That's the symptom of inflation. They are printing currency. That's really what inflation is. Inflation is the increase in the monetary supply, and the Federal Reserve is doing that, and all other countries around the world are doing that. They're increasing the money supply, the symptom of which is rising prices, and that means a devaluation of your dollar. So you keep a $100 bill inside your wallet, and then perhaps you didn't want to spend it, you saved it, and then you gave it to your child and he kept it in his wallet, and by then it wouldn't be worth anything by then practically because of this devaluation. So you need to hold on to assets. See, if that individual would have held on to that car instead of that $100 bill, he'd be holding on to something more valuable. And that's just an example I'm throwing out there. But that's the point. The countries around the world simultaneously are devaluing the dollars, and here we are holding on to those dollars. We earn that in our 9 to 5 jobs. We get paid on that. We have to pay for things in that. And look what happens. They are destroying us by their own design. They set up this system intentionally so they have full control over it. That's the message of my video here today. I hope you learned something. Please share this with others. And I hope you'll also join the others on the Money GPS Insiders. That's a great place to get extended information that I can send out to you through email, which allows me to really work on it slowly, and I could set up nice little clean emails that are very simple to understand. And of course, you can then take those, forward them off to your friends and family, or post them wherever you feel like. And that's about it. I appreciate all of you, and if you give me a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will talk to you soon.